cast. He don't cast. He don't cast. He don't cast. He don't cast. At some point, Sunday Dare had to go to the Indian government social media to download their content to post.
Dr. Abatti, you are correct about the confusion. It's already started.
Yeah.
Because yesterday, Mr. Bwala released a reaction to Olusegun Obasanjo. Sunday Dare to release his own.
Yes, and I'll read that. You're absolutely
How many
right.
reactions have we getting?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of confusion going on. Too much.
They call him this double-sided mouth guy, right? Let's just play this old video pulled up by social media users, a compilation of Daniel Bwala when he criticized the Tinubu administration. Let's take a look.
But let me tell you what they are selling to the Nigerian people, what they call renewed hopelessness. In their renewed hopelessness, what is their economic model?
You call it renewed hopelessness, but they call it renewed hope.
But let me tell you why it is hopeless. This current government is the government of APC. They don't even know. Their entire manifesto is a campaign against the government. And a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. The point I'm trying to make is that the media machine of the president is projecting itself as awful and even worse than the previous administration. Because in the previous administration, they will give the information as it were, but they are not forceful in making the argument. In this one, they are forceful in the communication of misinformation, forceful in their misleading of the Nigerian people. And you often hear them say, we try as much as possible to be honest with Nigeria. Mark what I'm saying, and I'll be happy to come back to your studio. In the next 1 year, you will see nothing from Dubai as per investment. You will see nothing from India as per investment, because they are just photo ops and statements. There are no specificity, there are no deliverables, and there are no timelines.
Well, all right, Daniel Bwala, I believe we're inviting you. I hope you'll be here tomorrow to answer some questions. But, also another video that was trending where he, made a U-turn to say that he has never had any qualms with the APC government. Let's take a look at that video.
I have never been ashamed of APC. I've never had a problem with APC. I've never had a problem even with the president in the first place. You see, it was so fast the time I left APC and I went to PDP. It was so fast that there was no time for me to tender my resignation in APC.
Yeah.
And when I went into PDP, we really went into campaign. And there was no time for me to register as a member of PDP. So technically, I've never left APC.
Dr. Abatti, please help us unpack this violence.
Well, first, from the point of view of strategy, let's talk about strategy first. Again, President Bola Tinubu has shown himself to be master of the game. All the people who were calling him a drug dealer, who were saying that, the Americans were looking for him, who were saying that he didn't have this qualification or not, they have all found their way back to the same President Tinubu to bootleg and to play transactional politics in exchange for something. Daniel Bwala is the one that we have seen today. There are other critics of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu who would at some point or the other also get into the fold. So that's the nature of transactional politics. At this moment, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the owner of the game, with all these people going to bootleg. You don't remember Bwala with the Kokorotinjefo? We
highlighted that.
Now, this Kokorotinjefo is now eating the vegetable, but he has to be careful. One, what President Tinubu has done is to create a multi-spokesperson strategy, an iron dome kind of machinery for public communication. Well, I hope too many cooks will not spoil the broth, because you have too many people who will be talking from this angle, talking from that angle. They could spoil the broth. If specific leadership is not properly defined, you can't have 3 persons speaking for the presidency. There must be a leader, because there are specific assignments that lead man will have to sign off on, not everybody talking across purposes. That's what the presidency tried to address yesterday. I think they have just realized the kind of problem they have created. Now, Daniel Bwala was on television yesterday saying, I've taken over Ajuri in Gelala's office. That office is only available for the leader of the team. And he was saying, I'm the spokesperson and all of that, and that we are all servants of President Tinubu. Daniel Bwala, who used to criticize Tinubu, is now describing himself as a servant. This is the thing about transactional politics that we don't understand. I don't think there's anybody on earth that will call me, Reuben Abatti, his servant. But some people are very comfortable with that title. They will say they are servants, and they are happy to be servants. But he has just been reminded in the statement issued before he left that TV studio by Mr. Bayo Ononuga, that, okay, we have 3 persons who will speak.
Right.
And we were told that he will now be in charge of policy communication which is just the lower end. He can go to the public and talk about policies. But Mr. Ononuga signing the statement shows that he's the leader of the team. Sunday Dari, whose name was also mentioned, used to be Mr. Ononuga's staff. So, but I think that in days to come, we will get clarity. And President Tinubu himself must avoid confusion because infighting within the communication process can confuse the public. And we don't need too many cooks that can spoil the broth. Daniel Bwala is my good friend. My advice to him is that he says he's been working on a PhD program in the United Kingdom. Let him not get carried away with this Kokorochinjefo. Let him pay more attention to his PhD program because he may just find that he's in the midst of a Yoruba Lokan synthesis.
Emi Lokan.
You know, Yoruba Lokan.
I know what you're saying. Go ahead.
Rufai, I have a quotable quote.
Go ahead.
To read to you. All of you. Human brain is unique and miraculous.
This is from... Okay,
wait, now let me finish. Cool down, Farabale.
Go ahead.
Human brain is unique and miraculous. It works and functions optically 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. Until you join the APC, then it stops working. Quotable quote by, can you tell me who quoted it?
I can't even imagine.
Daniel Bwala.
Well, all right.
You see, so one thing is certain.
Never, ever forget.
I'm beginning to hear many discordant tunes. And I'll posit two things. And Dr. Abatti, yes, you've put that clarity on it. Two discordant tunes. Number one, the question is, the message that was released by Mr. Ononuga, was it ratified by the president yesterday? What was the president's schedule like yesterday? How do we now know these positions? Because, you know, it was after people started calling Fela Durotoye out that he even came out to say that he had left that position since March 2024, that he worked for free while he was there. So you have 13 people there. One thing I'll tell Daniel Bwala is there's no how you're going to be cannibalized. 13 boys, 13 people from newspaper. Well, like this, get the media paper boys.
Right.
And you are in their midst. And when you look at it, you still have the likes of Temitope Ajayi from the newspaper, Oga Rahman from the newspaper there, Sunday Diary, Bayo Ononuga, and the list goes on. Maybe probably Ortega is the only person from the private media. But I'm sure Ortega is more vast and experienced because in the 1 year he's seen, and he is focusing on video now or something, on digital content. So he needs to be careful. List is being cannibalized. As I wrap up my point, what I'll also say is this. Dr. Abatti, you are correct about the confusion. It's already started.
Yeah.
Because yesterday, Mr. Bwala released a reaction to Olusegun Obasanjo. Sunday Diary to release his own.
Yes, and I'll read that. You're absolutely
How many
right.
reactions have we getting?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of confusion going on.
Too much confusion. But you know, they said there's not one spokesperson. Obviously, there is not one spokesperson. It's different from your time, all right? Is it completely, almost different from your time?
No, if you work in government, you are a spokesperson for the government.
Yeah, so you
but
cannot
in the communications
assume
process, there must be a structure.
Right, absolutely.
It's not everybody going to address the State House press corps. You will confuse the team.
Come on, really, really. Well, all right. Well said, both of you. Vimbai, stories for you. In another development, the presidency has taken a swipe at former President Olusegun Obasanjo after he described the 2023 general election as a travesty. While speaking during a convocation ceremony at Yale University in the United States last week, Obasanjo had said that Nigeria must appoint new, credible leaders for the Independent National Electoral Commission with short tenure to prevent corruption and re-establish trust in the institution, while the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, said that Obasanjo presided over the most fraudulent election in Nigeria's history. His tweet reads in part, "It is hypocrisy, writ large, when a man who presided over the worst election in Nigeria demands the sack of the leadership of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The only positive of the Obasanjo era was fiscal and monetary policy management, buoyed by a consistent rise in crude oil prices throughout his 8-year tenure. The current economic crisis the All Progressives Congress administrations have been battling since 2015 is the product of the poor choices in economic management made by Obasanjo and the two successors from his party." Well, Sunday Diary, the special advisor on public communication and orientation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also criticized Obasanjo, saying that Obasanjo does not have the moral right to censure Tinubu's government and that democracy suffered mortal wounds under his watch. His tweet reads in part, It is actually laughable that Obasanjo's pretentiousness about fighting corruption is not cutting any ice in the eyes of the general public. We all know what happened under his watch and how up till the present moment, there has been no explanation as to how he wasted a whopping $16 billion in generating megawatts of darkness across the nation. But that is not even the issue. Democracy suffered mortal wounds under his watch, only capped by his murderous rage for an ill-fated third term. Successive administrations struggled to clean up the mess Obasanjo left behind, which President Tinubu is now making progress with. Obasanjo has lost any moral right to condemn any government. He should apologize to Nigerians for not laying the foundational infrastructure Nigeria needed to advance. Vimbai, earlier I watched you today and I really loved your balanced reportage where you talked about Obasanjo and his wins in the economy. I know that you have interviewed him as well. Well done with a beautiful documentary. I hope we get to play that one day on Arise News. But I mean, some of the comments that have been made here have been adopted by a lot of Nigerians. When you speak to Nigerians, they echo the same rhetoric, the same sentiment. But I do have a graphic of performance of Nigerian presidents from 1999 to 2021 and Nigeria's annual GDP growth rate by these different presidents. And Obasanjo's growth rate was actually quite commendable. 1999, 0.58%, all the way down to, if we can go all the way down to, I believe, 2006, where he goes at 6.6%. Over to you, Vimbai.
You know, Oji, this is such a complex issue because I think there's so many sides to it, right? So I'll try to unpack it bit by bit. But I think in the morning we were all in agreement with regards to former President Obasanjo, is that I think his legacy is extremely divisive in that there were several wins, but then there were also several areas that were lacking.
Yes.
Now, in the instance of just writing him off and saying he doesn't have the moral right and this and so forth, my personal take was that I felt it was a bit of a broad wand because not everything he has done in his career has been bad. Just the same way, there's nobody who is some people are all bad, but there's nobody who is entirely bad. Some people do have a bit of good. And concerning former President Obasanjo, I just highlighted what he has done for the rest of Africa with regards to ensuring that he stood by African countries when they were fighting off colonizers to make sure that Southern Africa, Mozambique, Angola, Zimbabwe, even South Africa during apartheid were able to gain liberation, and that support also came with financial implications as well. However, having said that, here at home, he has a complicated legacy. Now, I'm glad you brought up the economics behind the legacy, which, you know, numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
15.3%.
And that was from the World Bank, yeah.
That was from the World Bank, and the 15.3% GDP, when he achieved that, it was the fastest growth rate in the world in the year that he did that. He did a fantastic job with regards to the economy. So I think the question we should ask ourselves really is, how did Nigerians feel about the economy then, and how do they feel about it now? It's a very telling story. So if, you know, somebody who was able to preside over something of that nature, even with his own misgivings, that means there's something positive to take away from his message, not entirely, you know, abusing him as a person. Now, very lastly as well, with regards to the communication happening, the communications team, multi-pronged, strategy with regards to communication from the presidency. I noticed something when the Prime Minister of India was in town, Narendra Modi. The communication around his visit, he was here for about 48 hours, less than 48 hours. It was seamless. We knew where he was at any given moment. There were pictures, there were edited videos, and then guess what? At some point, Sunday Dare had to go to the Indian government social media to download their content to post.
So some serious basketball.
All I'm saying is that I worry about. But all I'm saying is that with this very robust team and multifaceted pronged approach we're taking, let's just make sure, you know, we're not dropping the ball with the little things.
I love that. I love that. Rufai, I want to pull up the picture of the day, though. And if you can pull that up, it is the picture of the then former head of state, obviously, our Olusegun Obasanjo. This is serious Steve with the 39th president of the United States, James Jimmy Carter, at the White House in Washington, D.C. in 1977. I mean, it's the agbada for me, the regalia. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Correct.
And, you know, Jimmy Carter is 100 now.
Yes,
you know, and it's one of the... But real quickly, in that report, I quickly want to fact-check Mr. Bayo Onanuga. He said the reason Nigeria was growing economically under Obasanjo was because of the high crude oil prices. Mr. Bayo Onanuga, with due respect, I fact-check you. No, it's not true. In 1999, crude oil price was $17. 2000, $28. 2001, $24. 2002, $25. 2003, $28. 2004, $38. 2005, $54. 2006, $65. Where's the high crude oil price? People like Buhari got, it was after Obasanjo left, you started having like close to $100 per barrel.
I mean,
and when the Ukrainian war started, you have people like Buhari getting high numbers
every instance, all of the information that is put out there by the spokespersons need to be accurate as well as...
The lessons of the assignment is as follows. For people who have been engaged as spokespersons to also realize that former heads of state and presidents, they are members of the Council of State.
Absolutely.
They are also involved in the governance process. Now, you may say the Council of State is in an advisory capacity, but the Constitution is very clear about certain things on which they are invited, by the president to advise them. So when you abuse a former head of state, it's a double-edged sword. Because the same man will come for Council of State meeting, and then the president will have to receive them and be nice to them. And I keep making the point that yes, the principal may ask you, go and abuse him. Who does he think he's talking to? But you must avoid the risk of isolating the sitting president.
All right.
Because at the end of the day, these former presidents, they are still part of the governance process.
Absolutely.
The details, I will hold to myself.
Absolutely.
But it's not as if they are just some imbeciles commenting
but
that you can just abuse anyhow.
Dr. Abatti, he was conspicuously absent in the last Council of State meeting. Obasanjo wasn't there.
Well, that may be due to a lot of reasons.
It may be,
but it's just to be careful and to avoid
that.
Unnecessary volubility.
Right.
It's not every comment you respond to.
Okay.
It may be a large team, and then you are doing like an iron dome, carrying every dome.
But you didn't say anything about the picture of the day. That for me was the Steve.
No.
The
President Obasanjo.
That regalia, I
was
really
a man of
just
Steve, very elegant.
Oh, come on.
And was admired by all the...
you're not giving advice as answer. In your time, you were brutal. Maybe you were the one that called people children of damnation.
No, but I chose my targets selectively.
But you target where?
The people can criticize me also, but I just... I made the point about lesson.
That's it.
One of the lessons of the assignment.
Well said,
just
you guys.
choose your targets carefully.
Well said, you guys. Well said. We'll head over to Anambra State now.
They will start responding to housewives.
Well, all right. We'll head over to Anambra State now, where gunmen enforcing the sit-at-home directive issued by Biafra agitators killed at least 4 people and burnt down vehicles in Dunukofia local government area of the state.
Non-government, man, do attack now. They are non-government. Live in Ubo. Live in Ubo. Ubo roundabout. Ubo roundabout. No non-government. I say no Biafra, no freedom. Oh, yeah, sit at home. Sit at home. Sit at home. Sit at home.
This was a horrific incident, really. Our security forces, there were vigilantes that were killed. Unacceptable, really. And we call on the state governor as well. He's supposed to be the chief security officer of the state. I mean, this sit-at-home menace in Anambra State needs to be handled with care, really. May their souls rest in perfect peace. I thought it was important to highlight that story. Well, in another development, Nigerian comedian who goes by the stage name MC Oz has taken to social media to express frustration over the escalating cost of cooking gas in the country. Let's take a look.
Every day in this country they add. Say now 12 kg of gas, so 18,000. And on the MC Oz to the shots. Also the gas now don't dare pass food when they cook. Food go add person to buy it, or person go still suffer. Buy the food to cook and a problem. What it concern gas with subsidy? What we agree for fuel subsidy? Gas normally a waste product from flaring. Gas now 18,000. How much the minimum wage? The gas they reach 1 month. All of them when they use this country, they play calo. Now go there, the thunder from on top to tonight to blast all of them. Because it's suffer too much on this country. When good Lord get power, how much the gas? It reaches 1,000 when good Lord get power. It's suffer too much on this country. Una won't kill us.
He's speaking for every Nigerian going through exactly what he's talking about now, the high cost of gas. He was waiting concern cooking gas with subsidy. Una won't kill us.